Y'all, this episode is so special. I am joined by my real life superhero, educator, baker, event planner, certified fabulous, and mic-snatching legend. Some know her as Miss Crowder. I know her as Mom. So tap in because the vibes, the laughs, the legacies are unmatched. Now on this new Mother's Day episode of But Also Podcast, now live. Hey, y'all. Hey, welcome to But Also, the Real Talk podcast for real life moments. I'm your host, GDazzle. Some of y'all know me as GDazz, but most of y'all just call me G, your girl, your friend, your sis who's here to keep it real with you. This podcast is all about diving into life's moments that don't always fit into a neat little box because life isn't always black and white. Here, we talk about the gray, so both sides of the coin where two truths can exist, those yes and moments of life, like our parents telling us, I ain't one of your little friends, but also, I kinda am. Here, we keep it light, we keep it real, and we keep it all the way honest. Now, you'll get some laughs, a couple of kikis, and maybe even a moment or two where you say, dang, G, you just gonna read my life like that? Yes, I am. Because we're all living the same life, boo, and that's okay. So whether you're out here trying to figure it all out or just trying to make it through today, I got you. So let's talk about the highs, the lows, and all of the messy moments in between. All right, y'all, let's get into it. Now listen, today's episode is extra special because I get to share the mic with my day one, my real life superhero, my forever hype woman. She's more than just a woman who raised me, y'all. She is my heartbeat, my blueprint, my favorite everything, a powerhouse in higher education for over 20 years, a culinary and baking extraordinaire, the ultimate hostess with the mostest, and an event planning queen who puts Pinterest to shame. She's a proud, devastating diva of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, a woman who exudes elegance, creativity, and just the right amount of sass. Her hugs heal, her style slays, and whenever she grabs the mic, all you can say is, that MC though. Y'all might know her as the myth, the legend, Miss Crowder, but to me, I just call her Mom. So please join me in welcoming the woman whose shoulders I stand on, the incomparable, the fabulous, the one and only Annette Crowder to the podcast.
Hey, this is so exciting. I've watched this so many times and I'm like, I wonder what it'd be like one of these times to be on her show. And I am here and I'm excited. I'm really excited to join you today.
I'm happy to have you, honey. Now, you know, I had to bring you on for the Mother's Day episode. So this is a special one, y'all. And I'm going to encourage my mom to talk louder.
And I am going to talk
There we
louder
go.
and it's going to be so interesting because this is where you get to actually hear the voices of the both of us. As so many say we sound alike. Yep, this is how you get to hear it. Do we or do we not sound alike? The votes are starting now.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Okay. All right. So now, for some of y'all who don't know, just like the intro said, this is my main gal right here.
That's
We're
me.
very, very close. But also, just like the episode title, there's the common phrase in the parent handbook of the Black household that we all know and love. And it reminded us as kids not to get too comfortable whenever we tried it.
Yes.
And that was a classic phrase. I ain't one of your little friends. Now, on behalf of us adults who now turn to your little friends, I got some questions to ask.
I'm here for all of them. I'm here for all of them.
Good, because get ready. Get ready.
I'm ready.
All right. So, what did that phrase actually mean when you said it? Now, I think that I was a pretty mild-mannered child.
You were.
However, in your mind, what was the line that I could never cross?
When it would get to the point where there would be a change of tone in your voice, or when you wanted to compare me to maybe other parents, but more importantly, I really needed for you to understand that I was the adult, I was the parent, and I had the final say. I did not mind explaining to you why I did what I did or why I said what I said, but I also wanted you to always have the respect value of me as your parent, to know, there's certain things and there's certain lines that you could not cross. The other thing about that also, as single mothers, that was also another concept that we used to prepare you for the world, because we knew the world that you were going to be embarked upon, and some of them are forgiving, some of them aren't, and some of them were going to treat you just the way we wanted them to, most of them weren't, and we need you to be prepared for that. And so it started inside the home, which that, look, not one of your little friends, and I want you to always remember that and keep it.
Okay. Understood. Heard. 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 And I got it. And best believe y'all, I don't think that at least I don't feel like I crossed that line, but as you heard what she just said, there were some times.
You did.
So do you actually, you know what? I take that back.
Okay.
Because I may not remember it like how you remember it.
Okay.
Do you remember the first time that I tested that boundary?
Oh my gosh. I don't want to put out to the world that you were this perfect child, because in my mind you were. I believe it maybe started with your first venture to your daycare, kinder care, always for life.
KK, kinder care.
She can't believe she has a sign for kinder care, but
no.
there were certain friends at kinder care that talked to their parents, not in the most appropriate way. One time she came home and she basically decided to tell me that she wasn't going to do something. And then you did that with the swift turn and thought you were going to walk away from me at that moment. And I was going to allow that. Let's just say that you did not accomplish that goal. And the walk did not get very far. And you and I had a nose to nose conversation.
Nose to, you know what? Now that you say that memory,
Yeah.
I think I do remember them nose to noses. I
And
remember them nose to noses.
absolutely, yes.
I feel like I got snatched up.
Yeah.
Real quick.
You did not reach your target goal of going to your room. And because in my mind, I'm like, what's going to be next? We've turned and we go to our room. Does she really think she's going to go into the room? And worse yet, think she's going to slam the door? Never had that happen, so never had to worry about it, because I stopped you midway before you could accomplish that goal.
Yeah, you know how you hear the stories of some parents be like, "Oh, you think you about to slam this door? I'm gonna take it off the hinges."
Off the hinges.
I had enough common sense that my door never made it past the off the hinge level.
No, it did not.
However, I don't know. You know, like I said, the nose to noses did what they were supposed to do.
Yeah.
That was enough for me.
It was a great attention getter. It was. It was like, let's get face to face so that you don't miss anything I'm about to say to you, and that you're going to make sure you absorb it like I need you to do it, and that you understand I am the mom. No, and no. And I don't care what Misty's parents allow her to do at kinder care.
Lord, Misty, child.
Well, Misty, she was a little serious.
Misty, if you're out there, girl, we grown now. I hope you done got better. I hope, life has been well to you, Misty. So
yes.
Okay. All right. So that was a good one. All right. So what's one thing that I didn't understand back then that you wish that I did? And if you say fat meat wasn't greasy.
Well, now you learned that lesson quite well. Early on, you did understand fat meat is greasy. It's an interesting question. Rephrase that. I want to make sure I say it correctly. Rephrase that question.
So almost thinking about, like, if it was something that I just couldn't wrap my head around. I was just like, I wish she would just get this, but she just doesn't get this. Like, did you ever have to, like, pound something into my head?
And I probably think the reason I'm having difficulty answering that question is because the answer that I can think of right now is no. There weren't too many things that if I said something to you, very rarely was there an occasion where you didn't get it. I think that I was fortunate with you, because with you being my only person to talk to, and of course me being the only person that you talk to, well, we're on the air, so I won't go that far. But I will say this much, that I never talked at you. I talked to you. It was important to me that even though I would end a phrase with "because I said so," I would also end it with "this is why I said so." And as long as I was able to answer the why, that was it. You were the why kid. You were the one that wanted to know why.
I was curious.
And I would always explain to you why. I think the only thing that would drive you crazy is if your whys just were too many. I found a new phrase that would stop you and send you another direction.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Y'all, as soon as she's telling this story, my heart just dropped because I remember. Oh my. I'll let you go ahead. First, as you see this reaction, those who are listening and not watching, please, whenever you get a moment, please watch this episode so you can see my face because the reaction is real. Talk about trauma response, memory activated. Go ahead, Mama. I'm sorry. Ooh, Lord. Okay, go ahead.
Are you okay now?
I mean,
are you back?
I'm
okay,
back now. I'm
you just
sorry.
traveled, no luggage, nothing. You just left.
I'm back.
Can you come back?
I'm here.
Okay, so because she was the why kid, there were certain questions that the whys kept coming too rapidly. It's like rapid fire, but I found a phrase that would chill her. So whenever she would ask me, like, Mom, when the TV comes on, why doesn't it just come on? Why does it have all these little colors? And I would say, I don't know. I wasn't there. It doesn't matter. Whatever the why was, I'm like, you know what? I don't know. I wasn't there. That would drive her nuts. And she goes, why can't you just answer the question? I did. I did. You wanted me to respond to you on why. Why is the sky blue? Why is a tree leaning that way? I don't know. I wasn't there. Drove her nuts.
Till this day. I wish that to this day, that's all I can say is to this day. I don't know why it just nerved me, just irks my soul because in my mind, you were there because you were there before I was there.
But on certain moments, I just wasn't.
You were here before I was here. So you should have known. That's how I felt.
But I would have known if I was there.
Jesus.
But I wasn't there. And so I did not realize how effective that was going to work. And I ran with it, short of getting a t-shirt. I wasn't there. I know. I didn't. I said short of getting a t-shirt. I said short.
For those listening and not watching, the side eye of daggers that I just sent her way for the thought of a t-shirt. Look, I don't know. That may have to be some future, but also merch. Who knows for the mamas out there?
Absolutely.
Who knows?
Absolutely. But she was the why kid. So, and answer your question, it's a long way around there. You were inquisitive. And as I said before, we talked. I didn't have adult conversations with you. I had conversations with you that was pertinent to your age level. There was not a point where I'm going to sit there and if you were to ask me, can you go and buy this? I'm not going to give you this long dissertation about I have all these bills to pay and the way my bank account works and this is going, but I'm robbing Peter to pay Paul. We may have lights tonight, but we may not have them tomorrow, but just bear with me. I was not going to give you all that information because it was not pertinent to you. It was something I need to handle as an adult. I did everything I could to let you stay in a child's place and child's mind, and I didn't rush you to be an adult because at that point you're taking care of things that I'm supposed to take care of. That's not what you're supposed to worry about. You need to worry about why is your neighbor across the street up on top of the roof trying to jump off of it because he saw this on MacGyver. And yeah. That's what you were supposed to do. Not worried about this. True
story. Y'all, that was a true story.
His name was Ryan. I hope that he's probably an engineer somewhere because he was everywhere. He was on top of the roof. He was in a tree. He was under the fence. And he would bring things to me that I wish he wouldn't. And some of them most of the time were live. So that was more of a chasing scene. But he was a very interesting kid. That was the stuff you're supposed to worry about, not adult things.
True story. Shout out to Ryan. All right. So in thinking about that, there comes a time where, from childhood to adult, where there's like this shift happens, right? And so I think about the gradual shift and then, sometimes I try to pinpoint it, but I'm curious from your lens, when did you realize that, I wasn't a little kid anymore?
Oh my gosh. It happened, I would say your middle school years. Up until then, you were my kid. But I think it was when I saw you go off with your peers and you started developing your own personality and your own way of thinking. Up until then, I was the magic mom. I could blow out the red light at the stop sign. Was just simply going and it would turn green. And you believed that for a little bit. You went from that moment to when you were in middle school, whereas you develop your own social network. I would also go so far as to say the one part where I do recall, okay, she's done. I could help you with your homework. And my way of doing homework, especially things you need to really and truly digest and just make sure that you got it. That was like, I would make up mnemonic devices. The one time when I tried to do that and you said, Mama, that's not how I absorb information. That was a stunner to me. It was, because I'm like, wait a minute. So, whoop. Translation should have been, this is great. She learns, she has her own learning style, her own way of learning things, right? But in my mind, she doesn't need me anymore. So my little tricks are not working for her anymore. But that's when I started realizing that you were growing up and you were going in a different direction. And it was okay. That was after I've had my grieving moment that you just didn't need me anymore. Yeah.
Notice she said middle school. Middle school when she felt this, where I quote unquote didn't need her anymore.
Yes.
But notice that. So a next question in the lineup here is there something that I do now that makes you feel like, wow, my baby's grown?
Everything.
Okay.
Everything. But I've always loved your transition into adulthood. Every facet of it has been fascinating to me. And so, no, there's not, I mean, everything where I realize that you're grown, how you have taken care of yourself, your take charge, motivation, the things you get excited about, some of the things you still like in terms of the kid like things, but in terms of an adult, how you carry yourself, and more importantly, how you interact with people, and the fact that people gravitate towards you. Yeah, that's your journey into adulthood. It's been a phenomenal journey for me to watch and to continue to sit in your amen corner. Yes, now I do still say that's my baby. Everybody knows I will say that's my baby because she is. She get it from her mama. But it's still been a great moment to just sit there in your corner and just watch you continue to grow and to flourish. Yeah, I know. It was deep. I like that though.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, no, that's a good one. And, you heard her say it, y'all. Like, definitely, I wasn't exaggerating when I say A1 day one. Just, she is absolutely one of my biggest cheerleaders with the biggest pom poms, the megaphone, no matter what, and no
Yeah.
matter what I'm doing. Like, I remember I could just be on stage in second grade and have all of one line and know that it's automatically going to trigger tears.
Yes.
Like, she will cry at the drop of
Yes.
at the drop of a dime. So, but thank you, Ma. I appreciate and receive all of that, and I will always be your baby. So.
Always, always, always. Chicken soup with rice, still my favorite little song. And that's the one that probably brought the biggest tears, to see you up there with little mittens on and stuff. I'm like, that's her. She's singing on stage. 40 other kids there with her, but that one in the middle, that one belongs to me.
Shout out to those who know. Shout out to to the millennials.
Yes.
If y'all remember at the school recitals, chicken soup with rice.
That was a song.
Everything was so nice.
That was a jam.
That
was
hit
it.
Was fire.
Yes, it was.
To this day, it
Yes,
still
it was.
slaps.
It's the.
So let me hear. Let me see one of the new babies perform chicken soup with rice. I'm standing up. Scoot over. Make space. I'm coming on stage with you.
And
So-
I'll be in the audience crying. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
That's
Yeah.
my role.
Still crying.
Still, it's just the cutest little song. It is.
It is. So as we still continue to talk about that shift, when did we start, like in your mind, like when did we start feeling like friends and not just mother-daughter?
I would say we did that on purpose. And this is interesting because I often told parents sometimes when I'm talking to them, especially, when I was at Upward Bound and we have our parent sessions, I told them that sometimes as parents, you have to split yourself into several personas. And as you got into your teen years, I also realized there were moments where you needed to talk to me as mom, but there also was moments when you needed to talk to me as Nan. And I needed to be able to split myself into these two personas so that you could communicate, because it was important to me that you were able to communicate to me and tell me when something was going wrong. The worst feeling I would have is that you harbored something that you really need to talk to me about, but because I stayed in mom mode, you could not. And so as things went on, it actually brought me joy when you would call up and say, so Mom, I got something to tell you. I said, okay. Well, who do you need to tell it to? I need to talk to Nan. I said, okay, hold on. Now, I literally, on the other opposite of the phone, would just do a breather. I'm like, okay, Mom, stay calm. Don't respond. Nan, you got it. Hey, girl, what happened? Is he cute? What's going on? What's going on? Well, mama, this happened and this happened. And sometimes they were a little cringeworthy. They were, but I had to stay in mom mode and I mean, I had to stay in nan mode. I had to stay in nan mode and be like, okay, well, I mean, girl, what you gonna do? How you gonna handle it? Of course, when I got off the phone as a mom, I would probably fall to the floor. Like, oh my God, what did? Are you kidding me? But for you, you needed to be able to talk to Nan without fear of mom losing it. And I think that bonded us even more so. But for me, I just needed to know that we could communicate. And I think that there's times right now that, I mean, it doesn't happen as often, but every now and then when you call and say you need to talk to Nan, I know who she is. And Nan was not so much that friend, but Nan was that safe zone that if you needed to share something with me, I would rather me at least explain it to you, things that you were curious about, than to be in mom's like, oh my God, what were you thinking? Are you sure? Okay, well, hold on. Let me think about 15 minutes. All right, and scene. That part, there's times when you did not need that. You really need to talk to Nan.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that you phrased that so perfectly in terms of, the difference between mom and Nan. Like I said, Nan is, is mama's alter ego.
Yes.
Or those who know her in the streets.
Yeah.
That's what they call her.
That's the
So
homie.
if you call her that, then, you know a Noah.
Yeah, we friends.
But yeah, y'all friends. Maybe more than one of her little friends, but y'all friends. For me, that is something that I can honestly say that I genuinely and truly appreciated growing up, because it did give me that safe space where, it's just like I didn't want to feel the mom judgment. Not saying that she gave me judgment harshly. Often it wasn't like that. There's certain things that you don't always share with your parents, but it's just like, I just need to talk to somebody. It's just like, I got to get these feelings off my chest, or like, oh girl, let me tell you, I got some tea to spill. I got to tell somebody. So I genuinely appreciated that safe space growing up. And I think that definitely was that gave, I think that was a big factor in our communication, because I know that I recall you always saying to me that you never wanted it to be a moment that I felt like I couldn't go to you for anything. And because of those alter egos, not like she was like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, but because of those alter egos, there weren't that many times where I feel like I couldn't tell my mom. Right. If anything, it was probably more of, I felt weird if I didn't tell my mom. Like, there's no other person I'd rather share this news with than my mom. So it's just like we talk about everything. So because that safe space was established for me, I think it just opened up that communication door. And so thank you, mama. And thanks, man.
Okay. Hey, listen, it opened up the communication for me too, because like there was times when I would have gossip and I'm like, I need to tell somebody, and I would call you up and the way I think before the phrase, I got tea came in, that was a phrase that you and I would use where I'm like, listen, I got something to tell you, and guess what? Betty's getting fired on Friday.
Ooh, child. And I'd be like, honey, girl, what did Betty do, girl? What did she do? Is she getting escorted out right now, or does she got to come back on Monday?
Thank you. Rumor has it Betty's getting fired on Friday. I got to tell you something. So I always enjoyed that too. So it was beneficial for me as well.
Yes. And Betty, girl, whatever you done did to get fired, don't do it no more. Because you stay getting fired in the streets, Betty. You stay getting fired.
Yes, she does.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. So thinking about that, so was there a moment that you felt like I treated you too much like a friend and forgot that you were moms?
There was one time, yes.
Was it?
Yeah. Yep. Well, your worst April Fool's joke.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that it was the worst. I took it literally, but I would say you needed to talk to me. But at the end of the day, when you tried to tell me that I was going to be a grandmother, and then came back with April Fools, I still was stuck at the so you're not having and I'm not coming down to get. And there's not going to be a person saying that. Okay, so that would be one of them. But
and just to give y'all context real quickly, anyone who knows my mama and just us, I always say she's just been peer pressuring my uterus for grandbabies at this time. And as of right now, I do not have kids. I have a lot of bonus nieces and nephews and godbabies that I love with all of my heart.
Bonus grandbabies.
Yes, but she definitely had the pressure, the peer pressure on the uterus for grandchildren. She already had her granny name picked out, already had the activities planned. And so when I told her about that April Fool's joke, she was just like, wait a minute, I don't, so wait, so you're saying that there's no grandbaby on the way is what you're telling me. And I'm like, yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be done and over with. Then I find out a week later, she's still throwing daggers at me, side eyes like, so I can't believe you just really, there's not one coming. No little pumpkin, little grandaunt's pumpkin ain't on the way. And I'm like, no. So yeah, I got witnesses for that one. So, okay. All right. Okay. I forgot about that. Okay. I sorry. I forgot.
I don't think you ever did too much oversharing. A couple times.
Really?
But I told you what I would do. I mean, that I would let Nan kick in and let you get it out. And then when I would hang up the phone, I would probably just pass out and fall to the floor and be like, oh my God. Okay. All right. She did that. Okay. I'm going to work with this one. Yes. But
I'm a free spirit, y'all.
Yes, very much so.
Free spirit.
Yes, absolutely.
So I'm pretty sure I did or said some things that probably did give you some shock value. But yeah, we're just, we're just open and free.
Very much so.
I'm a free spirit, y'all.
Absolutely.
Okay. So that's valid. That's valid. So
valid moments.
So now I want to kind of flip the script because we started off with the whole segment of I ain't one of your little friends, but millennials, us 35 and up, almost us, those of us knocking on 40's door. I know I'm not the only one because this next topic. Let me grab the mic. This next topic. I know I'm not the only one who feels me on this because I know for a fact I'm not the only one out here raising their parents. Raising parents is hard. My mom always says, I don't know when the script flipped, but it did. And let me tell you, raising parents is super hard because they don't listen and she thinks she grown. I don't know why she thinks she grown, but she thinks she grown. Like, once again, this is why, because she thinks she's grown, this is why we got to keep your location on to keep tabs on you so I know where you at and to make sure that you make it home before the streetlights come on. She out here just dilly-dallying and lollygagging around. I'm like, ma'am, what are you doing right now? You should have been home a long time ago.
I have something to say on behalf of the parents that really and truly are at that point where we have our independence, we have raised our children or child, and that we are at that point in our life where we can do and go wherever we like, whenever we want to, and not have to check in.
Lies.
When
Cap.
did the change happen? I don't know where
the
it's
change happened. Where
when you
thought you were grown?
Or it's like the phone calls shifted. There was a time when I'm like, how come you haven't called your mother? Now it's like, how come you haven't called me? Why have I had to call everybody and ask them where you are at? I have been blowing your phone up. What do you mean your phone is on silent? Mom, what is happening, Mom?
Because what's it on silent for? I don't understand why you're not sitting by the phone, not picking up why you're not picking up on the first ring? Like, what are you doing besides waiting for my phone call? That's the part that don't make sense to me. Like, like I said, she out here just lollygagging and dilly-dallying with her friends out here thinking she grown. I was like, no, ma'am. No, you still got to check in. You got a bedtime. You got a curfew.
I do not have a bedtime.
You do have a bedtime and you got a curfew.
I do not.
Because you see how you hear her trying to be out in these streets.
I do not. I'm still trying to figure out. And so if you were to ask me to pinpoint, when the shift changed, I have no idea. No, I think I can pinpoint it. That is when I went from being mom, if she's trying to get my attention to the store, where all of a sudden she puts this bass in her voice and it's like, Annette Crowder. I'm like, whoa, government name coming from a wrong source. When did this happen? Why is every mother in the store answering me when I'm saying mom, but you?
And true story, legit happened yesterday. We went shopping and one of the, we were in like a department store. And then one of the salespeople, they kind of walked up behind us. Now, my mom was walking a little bit in front. She's walking a little bit in front of us. So it's like my mom, I'm in the middle, and then the salesperson. And literally they come up like, hello, ladies, how are you guys doing? Can I help you? You need assistance? And like trying to get their attention. And I heard the salesperson. I was like, oh, he's talking to us. And so I'm like, Ma, Mom. And she's still just do, walking around, looking around, not moving, not even turning around at all to see who is calling mom. Then I finally say, Annette Crowder. Then she whips around. Huh? Really? Really? That's when I have to use your government name, because apparently you forgot to respond to mom. Mom no longer has the weight that it doesn't hit like it used to. I have to bust out the government name to get your attention.
Because I hear it all the time, but it's the stern manner of which, if I want to go somewhere, I have oftentimes found myself or my blouse being pulled and saying, we're not going that way, we're going this way. I'm like, but I'm grown and I should be able to go this
No.
way. Or when you call and it's just like, so now where are you? Well, I'm coming home. Where are you right now? I'm on my way home. And then I'll hear why aren't you telling me you're in Walmart? I know you're there because I can hear there's a cleanup in aisle 3. I said, that is not accurate, but more importantly, and then it's down to the point, it's like, so what are you buying? Have you looked and seen what we have first before you buy it? When did those dynamics change?
You got to make sure
As
you
parents,
take inventory to make sure you're not doubling up. And then it's just like, where I ask, when are you now? It'll be like 8, 9 o'clock at night. Oh, I'm at the gas station. Why are you at the gas station by yourself at night? Oh, just getting some gas. Obviously, we're getting gas. That couldn't have waited till the morning. Miss Ma'am, what are you doing? The same scenario that she used to tell me, you're going to get kidnapped. Something's going to happen. I don't want somebody to walk up snatching my fine mama, because she fine. Y'all see her. She fine, divalicious over here.
Bless you.
I don't want nobody snatching her up unless it's, Mr. Hollywood or something like that. But otherwise, and I'm like, no, I need exact location. Like, why are you at Walmart and this is when Walmart was 24 hours. Why are you at Walmart at 11 o'clock at night just browsing? Or, what are you doing right now?
The shift has changed. It has changed where she does even a gesture with her hand where she snaps her finger and points. And I used to do that and it worked on her. Just never thought I'd see the day at my age that that's what she does to me.
See, you just make me just sound so okay. She makes me sound bossy. I don't think I'm bossy. I'm
bossy.
just concerned and well-meaning. And it's just like, and at this point, because yes, you was grown back then, but I'm grown now. And so it's just like, yes, I'm looking out for your best interest, because it's a weird world out there. And it's just, I just got you. I'm just pouring into you. That's all. And, I know that sometimes you think I fuss at you from time to time, but does it really bother you? Like, do you find it annoying, or is it just helpful reminders said with a little bit of extra love?
Yes, it does. Especially when I think that I have achieved the ultimate look and I come out and the first thing out of your mouth is that what you're wearing with those shoes? Do you have something else? I'm like, I've been dressing myself for years. I taught you how to dress.
And you do.
When did I stop achieving that goal of being able to say, I think this is great, without it be like, well, no, it's too big. I don't like that. No.
Because, there's nothing wrong with a fit check. And just like how you wouldn't send me out in the world looking crazy, I'm not going to send you out in the world looking crazy. Not saying that you're looking crazy, but every now and then a couple statement pieces, I'm like, that's not the statement that we're trying to make right now. So it's just like I said, helpful reminders, little level sets made with extra love. That's all. That's all. That's all that it is.
What can I say?
That you're not grown?
Oh, that's not going to happen. I'm grown about 3 times over. Very, very grown.
Okay. All right. Well, now that we've talked about the role switching a little bit, and, how we all understand how hard it is to raise our parents, because they just be doing the most. Just be doing the most. And it's just like my nerves. I'm like, Annette Crowder. I just have to say the government name. But in thinking about that switch, I can't not also talk about that, because we're raising our parents. We're now at that stage and age where it's just like, we're both adults.
Yes.
And we are, we're mother and daughter, but also we're woman and woman.
Absolutely.
And there are certain things that happen along with that. And with that, me and my mom, we talk about a lot of we have a lot of good conversations. And some of my conversations have been some of our transparent conversations where they don't feel like mother-daughter conversations, but woman to another woman conversation. and allows me to see her in a different way as the woman that she is, and even the woman that she was before she was a mom, which I genuinely appreciate. And so, even thinking about that, the question that I have on the docket is, are there things, or even more so, what do you see in me that reminds you of yourself?
First thing first, your fashion sense. I mean, the whole divitude, I got to tell you that I'm very proud of that one. The things that I see in you also is your interaction, your interpersonal communications with people, which I think is just spot on. Um, I also there are some things that I wish you didn't have, and that is in terms of, I mean, that when you feel pain, you feel it deeply. That you get from your mom, and when there are certain things when people interact with you, it depends on if they get the bossiness. And I would ask, did bossiness come from me? And I would tell you, no, it did not come from me. But then I would still go into my room in the mirror and say, it did come from me. It did. I have to give you that, but I would say there's so much, but those are just the ones that come to mind right now. It's been a journey. It's been a journey, and yes, there's times when I look up and I shake my head. I'm like, that is so me. I really want to say it's not me, but doggone it, yep, that's all me. That's me. I did it. That one belongs to me all the way. That's me.
Okay,
Hmm.
okay. So staying kind of in that same vein
Okay.
there, what do you admire? What do you admire about the woman I've become?
Um, have we met? I'm just going to ask that. Have we met
We've met, but they haven't met us.
everything?
Oh, aw.
Yeah, I couldn't pinpoint one thing. It is everything. I think that I was majorly blessed beyond words that you are the person that you are and that you belong to me. I shared with you the other day that out of all the things I've ever done wrong in my life, you still are number one with one thing that I did right. In terms of the individual you are. And it warms my heart when people, share with me, their interpretation, their pride, and that they're impressed with who you are. And I can't think of anything that would be more depicting of responding to that question and say everything. Everything. Like I said, from the moment that I first laid eyes on you, kid, is everything.
Ah, you're gonna make this little mascara start running.
Yeah, this
All
is the cheap
right.
stuff, so let's not go there.
All right. Don't believe that. It's not the cheap stuff. It's not the cheap stuff. You
Okay.
see the slayage, the beats on both of us. It's
Yeah.
not the cheap stuff, but it's waterproof. So I think we good. I think we good.
Yeah.
So if you could go back, what is something that you would do differently as a mom now that we're here?
If I could go back, it'd be interesting to say how far back. I still would have waited until after I had you to go back to get my degrees. I still would do that. I probably would have made, of course, we always want to make better choices. One thing that I really thought as a parent that I was doing the right thing for you. And now I look back on it, I think that you could have accomplished both goals, but I didn't see it. And that was when you tried out for volleyball. And but your grades started slipping, and so I made that decision. I think about that quite often and say, but I wonder if I had just maybe found her a tutor or went further with that where she could have accomplished both of them and experienced that. There's so many other things I could say, but just little things in terms of if I can go back and redo, probably be a little bit more in tuned, to some of the things that you were going through because, like I said, it was a challenge for me, but also was a challenge for you to be an only child of a single mom who was trying to work a full-time job and go to school. So those are challenges. Now, do I have any regrets? No, because I would say that Garen started at UNO when she was 7 years old. So
For those that are listening who may not be familiar, UNO is an short for University of Nebraska in Omaha.
And so while I was attending college, there were many times when I had no choice but to take her with me. And so she got to experience a preview, I would say, of college life, which is why the biggest honor I ever had was when I did achieve the goal of getting my bachelor's degree and I walked across the stage to get my degree. She was with me. Yes, I took her across the stage with me. But to go back and see if I can change things, I still would have gone to school, but I still would have tried to be a little bit more in tune to what was going on with you. I don't think that anything negative occurred because of it. I just would have loved to have been able to get you into more like, little dance teams and various things that I know that would have been more beneficial for you if the time was there for me to still achieve my goal of getting my degree.
Oh,
Yeah.
she's so hard on herself. So hard on yourself because that's such an interesting lens from your viewpoint of what you would have done differently. And just hearing you recant those stories and those memories, my viewpoint of it is completely opposite because,
Really?
yeah, you went to school, but like she said, we went to school. So, while she was in class, I was sitting in the back and in my own version thinking I'm helping, I'm taking notes too. Like, I got my notes for this essay dissertation that we got to write in this seminar class, or even in the in between times, hanging out in the student union, fellowshipping with everybody. I mean, I'm thinking I'm part of the groups. We got a meeting. I'm pulling up. So for me, it's just like I
This is
felt
true.
like I had the edge up, and if anything, I felt that what you were able to show me during that time, because I was able to see it at a young age, but at an age old enough to understand and appreciate what was happening. You showed me resilience, you showed me determination, you showed me fight, and you showed me to never give up, and that it's never too late. And because of that, it's just like you did the steps and took the things and the time necessary to better yourself, but to better our livelihood, which it did in the long run. Where it's just like, yeah, this is only a season.
Yeah.
This is a season that's a setup for something more abundant. And we were definitely blessed in that. I was definitely blessed in that. And it also showed me how much, it gave me a craving for higher education. Like, the idea of not going to college was something that didn't cross my mind. Also, as a higher ed professional, I don't think I necessarily had a choice.
No choice.
However, it wasn't something that I ever felt forced to do. It was
Right.
more of like which one to go to was more of my thing. And it made me crave that education, but also push myself because I saw my mom do it. And it's like, if she can do it, I know I can do it. And not only did she do it while being a full-time mom, she was also a full-time student and also had a full-time job. And not only did she full-time do that once, she full-time did it twice for her master's. We're not going to sleep on the educational flex here. And so in both times, I think for your master's, did we walk the same year? No, you walked with a year before me.
Exactly.
But still, even when she's doing study sessions,
2003,
at that time, she graduated with her master's in 2003. I graduated in high school 2004. For the young ones, watch your mouth. Don't say nothing about my age. But anywho, I thought that was the coolest thing because I got to help with her cap and gown. And then the next year, she's helping me with mine. And once again, I watched this woman who was so resilient, who never gave up and was faced with so many challenges and obstacles and tribulations, but yet you persevered through it all and did it fabulously at that and succeeded. And so it's just like, how could I not see that and see that vision in front of me and not drink it in and take it in and learn and grow from it and embody it myself? So, yeah, volleyball. Now, don't get me wrong, volleyball was cool. It was cool. And if I was meant to do it long term, I would be doing it. But the Lord had other plans.
Yes, he did.
He let me experience what I was supposed to experience. And just, a little side note, your girl was a little athletic in high school. She played all the sports, volleyball, softball, track and field, shot put and disc, so, she was out here getting her athletic on. However, because of that in your journey, it definitely inspired me and kept my fire burning bright, especially even when I was in college and having those moments of feeling burnt out. And then I would have flashbacks of you sitting at our kitchen table, studying, pulling all-nighters, even though you still had to work the next morning, pulling all-nighters, writing papers. As in my own little way, I'm sitting on the couch with her, thinking I'm helping, like, I'm gonna be down here with you while you pull your all-nighter.
But you did help. You have no idea because there were many nights when you coming downstairs with your little blanket and telling me, okay, mom, if you need some help, just let me know. I'll be here on the couch. And just looking over there and seeing you on that couch gave me the motivation to keep going because I'm like, that's why I have to finish this. That's why I have to get this A. I have to for that little body laying on that couch over there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, to hear the same story from two different
Yeah.
lenses is definitely so interesting. And, I think about my friends who are mothers as well and conversations that we all have. And I remember seeing this, it was like a random Instagram video, something on a TikTok, some social media, who was it or whatever, where they did a survey kind of where they interviewed like 4 to 5 different moms and they asked them, did they think that they were good parents? Or, what did they think that their kids thought of them? And it was all of these mothers saying, like, I know I yell a lot, I could be really stern, or, I discipline them and I know that they're always mad at me, or, something like that. But then on the flip of that, they interviewed their kids
Yeah.
and their kids were just like, oh, I have the best mom in the world. She loves me with all of her heart. She's my number one cheerleader. She feeds me. She gives me cake. Like, it was the cutest little thing.
I
But,
remember
and these
us seeing
moms were
that.
just watching it. But it just goes to show that we can be so critical of ourselves
Yeah.
and what we think matters to our children are the most minuscule things where we see the bigger picture, like, oh, girl wasn't even phased by that, you was just momming and that was it. And those are, and to me those are the moments that matter, where it's just like you see the critical things but I see the big picture of, like, I saw my mom hustle. She was a hustler. I saw her getting it in. Like, I'm trying to embody that same energy. Or all I felt was just the love that she had for me. And even those moments where, it might have not been a Nan moment
Right.
and I needed my mom, that's what I got. And so, just, for the mother friends out there, or for the women who are mothers, give yourself some grace. Give yourself some grace. I promise you're not screwing your child up. They may talk about you a little bit in therapy, but still all good stuff. You're not screwing them up as much as you think.
But to add to that, I do recall. I saw them, and I actually thought about that and said to myself, if someone was to ask me, "Do you think you're a good mom?" I think the reason why those mothers responded critically is because our mind and our concept of being a good mom is what we saw on TV. It's what, in our mind, what a good mom is. Everybody can't be Claire Huxtable, Uh, would love to, but we don't even stop to think that that was a scripted character. And so if you ask me, do you think you're a good mom? It's crazy because the best I can say is I think I did okay. There are so many areas where I just wish I had been able to do something better and something more. I would love to know that my child believes and thinks that, listen, I was this great person. But if you ask us, yeah, did I yell a little bit? Yes, I did. Did I listen? Not always. Did I always feed you the most healthiest food? No. Sometimes, the fast food and the pizza probably wasn't the best thing, but I had to do what I had to do. And sometimes that phrase, I had to do what I had to do, is where we start kind of diminishing the other stuff, because even though the means was for something good on the end, it's just at that time, it's like, listen, we all have this biggest fear. Okay, so how much of my life is going to be totally showing up on Oprah one of these days, And so when that question is asked, do you think you're a good mom? It's not always easy for us to quickly say, yeah, I was the greatest mom ever. Shoot, I had it all together. I was every woman. It was all in me. No, it was not. I was not every woman, and it darn sure was not all in me. But I'd like to think that I tried. And I think that's the part of the grace that we do need to give ourselves when we can say, I don't think I achieved the best, but I tried. And the fact that she's not going crazy. I think I did okay, but as you can hear in the words that I'm saying right now, it's still difficult to say I was the world's greatest mom, and that award belongs to me, and I should have gotten it at least about like a good 15 times. Hard to say. The best mom was doing the best that I could. And the phrase I used to tell you all the time, I just want you to do your best, because your best is the only thing that God is looking for. He's not looking for the best. He's looking for your best. And so for me, I can only say is I did my best, but yeah, I think it didn't turn out too bad. For me, just doing my best.
And that was more than enough for me, because the biggest thing that I remember is that she was there. She was present. I never went without. And not saying that I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth. It might have been a little plastic, but to me, it was the best plastic in the world. You couldn't have taught me, told me any different.
By candlelight, yes.
Yes. And even when, as, we were in those transitional stages of, reaching our more abundant selves, even back then, where, during struggle times, it's just like I never felt like we were struggling. You never made me feel like, the lights might not come on tomorrow. And even if they didn't, we had a fun candlelit moment.
sure
So it's
did.
just like I never felt like I wanted for anything. And what those negative experience may have been from the adult lens, from my child mind, it wasn't bad at all because I knew that I was with you, I was protected, I was loved, you were present, you had me, and we had each other, and that's all that I needed. And I never felt any different about it. So that's where, that phrase of giving, as a woman, giving grace. And looking back on it now, is just like even us talking about it now,
Yeah.
I see the woman before she was a mother, and even the woman being a mother, trying to be the best mother that she can be
Yeah.
for me. And you were. Are is.
I will keep that. Are and the is.
Yes, are and is. I don't think I would have changed anything different about the nature of our relationship, anything about it. So, yes, no, that was definitely no. You did your big one with that one.
Well, I appreciate that, dear. I appreciate that. We actually we had some good times. I think that whenever I see some of those videos where you see two people, but most of the time they're best friends and they could just fall out laughing, I knew that you and I had achieved that status when if I was to use a particular phrase or something, you and I could fall out laughing and just no one else could get the joke, but we would. We would. So I knew that I'm like, okay, we're there. Got it. It's my buddy.
Yeah. Like I said, that's my main girl. That's my boo thing. My heart, my left arm right there. And it's one thing for you to raise your kids, but it's another thing for you to actually like and enjoy your kids. And I think that definitely makes the difference. You never made me feel like you didn't like me or that I got on your nerves or I never, if you said it, I don't recall it being said often, the get out of my face or go away. Like I wasn't wanted. If anything, it's probably more so the other way around. It's probably more so the other way around. I don't know there's a show called The Goldbergs and Beverly is the mother on the show. She's a mother of 3. And the show is set in the 80s. If you're familiar with it, it's a really great show, good sitcom, really, really funny. And it wasn't until, they said it on the show till I realized, oh my gosh, this is my mom. And she goes hard for her kids, like nobody's business, as you should. But it was to the point where it's just like it could be real helicopterish, hovery, if you will. And they're just like, oh, yeah, I got a smother. And when they said that, I'm like, oh, there's a word? There's a word for it? A smother?
I really hate that term, yes.
I have a smother who loves me. She just loves me with all her heart, but I wouldn't change a thing about it. I would not change a single thing about my smother over here. She just cute and cuddle. She just wants all the cuddles. She just wants to love me with all her heart and never let me go. Like kind of like in an Elvira kind of way. But I love it and I'm okay and I'm used to it. That's fine. Honestly, if she stopped doing that, I'd probably look at her like, "What's wrong with you?
You've done that.
Who did it?
I
What
tried
happened?"
I tried my best not to be the mother or in this case the smother, and the one time I did it, it threw you. And you did ask the question like, are we okay? What's happening here? So
Yeah, why are you not obsessing over me in this moment? I don't get it. Why do you not want my
I can't
touch?
win.
Why do you not want my touch? So I can't figure it out. I can't
can't
figure
win.
it out. But okay. Y'all, I think we can all agree that this whole convo was a vibe. It was
vibe.
heartfelt. It was loving. You heard it. And what started as you ain't one of my little friends definitely turned into one of the most beautiful, evolving relationships of my life. And it's wild because the older we get, the more we realize that our mamas weren't just raising us, they were becoming and healing and figuring it out too. And somewhere along the way, we stopped just seeing them as mama and started seeing them as women. And this woman here, I definitely give so many flowers to
Oh,
as much as I can. And anyone who knows me knows I try to spoil this woman as much
she
as
spoils me rotten.
possible.
She does.
If you get
I'm
the
here for all
if
of
for
it.
those mothers who are still here, do it. Give them their flowers where
Yeah.
they're here. And my prayers and blessings and loves and hugs from a distance for those who may not still have the opportunity to do so.
Mhm.
But not only do we see them as women, but we see them as women who loved hard,
Yeah,
who sacrificed big,
definitely.
carried so much, and somehow still managed to show up with the hugs, the wisdom, and the fabulousness on top of that.
Keep it fabulous.
Ever abundantness. So, whether you're still learning how to navigate this grown up relationship with your mama, or already sending her memes and FaceTime links daily, because I send her so many random things.
You sure do.
Give her grace, but give her flowers. Give her big ones. Give her chocolates. Give her jewelry. Give her whatever. Give her her props in whatever form you see fit, because being a mama and a woman is no easy job. So with that, mama, I thank you for always showing up and loving me through every version of myself. The healed version, the unhealed version, the broken pieces and parts, and still being there to help put me back together with your mama glue gun.
And it's powerful.
And for even being an example and the voice of reason, and especially my soft place to land.
Always, always. Special shout out to all the mother-daughter duos out there. We get each other and we have our own little private club, but I can tell you right now, there's nothing more special than it. Nothing more special. Yeah, this is my heart right here. This is everything.
Yes. And to every mama and bonus mom, auntie mama, and mother figures out there, we see you, boo.
We see
And
you
we love you.
all day.
And we honor you too,
Mhm.
today and every day. So, all right, y'all. That's a wrap on today's episode, but also the Real Talk podcast for real life moments. If you're feeling what you heard, make sure you follow and subscribe on youtube.com/G+Dazzle so you never miss an episode. And hey, while you're at it, make sure to share it with the cousins, share it with your friends, whoever you think will get a kick out of this episode. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok @ButAlso_podcast for more real talk, behind the scenes moments, and all of the vibes in between. So thanks for kicking it with us today. And until next time, keep on keeping on, keep on thriving and surviving and embracing all of your moments, the good, the messy, and everything in between. All right, y'all. We'll holla.